I like to discuss the question with you guys again. You guys are joined little late. Before you guys joined, we were discussing something. The question is that the first basic question is that input splits based on the block. Input splits are not based on the blocks. Input splits based on the input format. Each input format has their own way of calculating the input splits. Very straight answer for it. Each and every input format has its own way of calculating the input splits. Alright. If you are using a text input format, we have some formula, something called, we already seen this formula, max value. I have shown the source code also for this formula, if you guys remember, block size. Okay, so when a minimum split size by default it is 1, and min of maximum value, you guys know it is long value max, long dot max value. So long dot max value is 9223333, very big number it was, and your block size was 128 MB. If you convert into bytes also, it won't be that much big than your this value. So here 1 dot min in this 2 minimum is 128 MB. So now your block size is, sorry, your input split size is 128 MB. So what is question is, if I have a 10 GB data where I'm going to process, so there 10 GB data, it means if I say 128 MB, there are close to 100 mappers has to launch. Is there any way I can control this 100 mappers to 50 mappers? See, if you are going with a, you are not going to change any configurations, you are not going to change anything, you don't have any option to change the 50 mappers. It will take 100 mappers only. You don't have any control on this. But what you can do, your minimum split size is there, no, or minimum split size. What you can do, this one you can make it 268, 120 MB, 120 MB, 256 MB. You make it a minimum split size 256 MB. In this, when you make it, the formula is max of 256 MB comma 128 MB. So this will be maximum. So your split size will be 256 MB now. So this 256 MB with data will be processing on one mapper. It means for 100 mappers, I'm launching only 50 mappers. This property you can change in your code, or you can change in the Mapreduce.xml. Mapreduce.xml. So in this case, I am controlling it by changing the my split size. By default, it will take whatever the source code has been designed for the text input format. That will be taken care. If you want to change really, we will change. But while changing, keep in mind that 256 MB data has to be processed as a single mapper. Don't we think it is a burden on the single mapper? Yes, it is a burden. So that's why most of the cases we will not go ahead and change them. We will just leave to the cluster to take care of it. If you have a huge resource, if let's assume that you have 200 machines, if you have a 200 machines, the 100 blocks will be spread across the multiple 100 machines. So each block will be 120 MB will be processing with one mapper parallelly. See, because of you increased here, it's supposed to launch 100, you are shrink to 50 only. When you shrink to 50, it will take a lot of time to finish. When you have 100 machines, let's say, my question is here, you have 100 machines, but you have processing with only 50 machines. What is the use of it? Make use of the whole cluster size. Make use of the whole cluster.
One more quick question. So when you say the even on the nodes, like physical nodes, logically we can partition that again into multiple nodes. Let's say one particular, if you're talking about one particular node as one particular system of which is attached to that. So internally that can be again partitioned to 4, 8 or multiple nodes. Let's say I partition it to 4 logical nodes, not the physical but logical nodes.
No,
so this 100.
You're talking about 100 node. I mean, you're talking about something called cores or number of mappers launched for one node or something. Capacity of the one node.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, when I'm going in that that level.
Yeah, that is. In the Hadoop 1, you have something called core concept. In Hadoop 1, you have something called core concept. If if dual core, two mappers can launch, two reducers can launch. If it's a dual core, two mappers or two reducers can launch. It means totally parallelly four tasks can be running here. But when it comes to Hadoop 2, which is called yarn, there is no core concept. Here something called container. In this container, you can launch all these four. Here only two for mapper, two for reducer. We already reserved it. But when it comes to the container, here if you have a dual core, four mappers can launch parallelly. One machine can run four mappers parallelly.
Okay.
If you have a 16 core, you can think how many it can run. If you have 32 core, if you have a 64 core, you can think how many parallel it can run. That is based on the machine capacity, not to worry about it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So I hope everyone is understand this question. Any doubts? It's a scenario based interview question. That's why I have taken time to explain this. Anyone has any doubt? Anisha, Ganesh, Kishore, Masood, Rakesh, Sai, Nikesh. What happened, Anisha? Go ahead.
Yeah, Veera, can you explain that core concept again?
Core concept I'll explain again. We will discuss more about it again. Not a problem. Apart from the core concept, do you understand the interview question? The 10 GB, can we control the parallelism? Can we control the number of mappers? That one?
That I understood, yes, Veera.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So let's go back what we were doing. What was last class we discussed about? Can someone tell me? What we discussed in the last class, guys? What we discussed in the last class? Custom data types. What we discussed? Custom data types. We discussed something called custom data types. We discussed something called writable and comparable. We discussed something called writable comparable, right? So let's go ahead and see the writable interface, comparable interface very detailedly today. We have seen writable. I have explained yesterday what is writable and writable comparable. You can see writable and writable comparable. So this is what we have seen in the last class, right? So now I would like to show you the source code of this. Guys, keep in mind that why I'm showing the source code, you never forget. If you see, okay, this is how the framework has been designed. When you're explaining to someone, you will be very confident. You will be very, very confident because you know that source code is like that. The source code is going to not change until unless there is major version change, right? That is the reason I love to show the source code for each and every topic. Most of the cases, some cases I may not able to get the source code to show you. Some wherever possibility is there, I'll be showing the source code for that. Okay. Let me start this. Maybe I didn't start my Eclipse before. Okay, by the time Eclipse starts, let me explain you. As I said, as we discussed yesterday, writable is another type of mechanism to serialize your data and deserialize your data. So why we need to serialize and deserialize, we already discussed yesterday, because the data has to be transferred through a network from one machine to another machine. The messages are going through one machine to another machine in the form of RPC. So the data has to be serialized form, because objects cannot traverse through a pipe or wire. Objects cannot traverse through a wire. So we need to convert into a byte stream. So there are multiple interview questions may come on this. The first question is, why Hadoop is not using Java data types? Why using its own data types? The very simple reason, because of the serialization. Why serialization? Serialization mechanism is different in Mapreduce. What is that we have discussed yesterday? Why it is? And another question is, why Mapreduce is using its own serialization mechanism instead of Java serialization mechanism? So Java serialization mechanism, I already told you, when I do Java serialization mechanism, let me show you that, how it will work. Java serialization mechanism, let me show you here somewhere. I want to show you the proof. That's the only reason. Proof in the sense like how the data looks. When I serialize, one second guys, I think it's loading. Yeah, if you look at here, I want to use the Java serialize method. I'm using Java serializing. So using Java serializing, I'm serializing the small, very small integer. Small integer. See here, it is Java serializing. Okay, 100 value is 100. So I'm serializing that value, small integer value. When I serialize using Java, it has produced this much amount of the information. It has produced this much of amount of the information for the Java serialization. Okay, when I'm using the Java part. So what is happening is, to serialize a small number, it is producing this much huge information which needs to be transferred through a network. This is for only small amount, but when I'm dealing with a very big data, it may produce more information for that data. So this whole data has to transfer through a network, which will take a time. That is the one reason Hadoop is not using Java serialization. That is the one reason. If you see the same thing, if I go with writables, I mean Hadoop's serialization mechanism, it is producing very small information, 0.00000 something, right? So this information very less to transfer through a network. Compared to this is very small. So it can quickly go through a network. That is the one reason. Second reason is, when I go with the Java serialization, I don't know whether you guys remember or not, I have to do complete object. I have to serialize complete object. If you guys remember the serialization mechanism in Java code, if you guys remember, output stream dot write method, in the write method I have passed complete object. Let's say my object has my employee object. Let's say I have an employee object which has the ID, which has the ID, which has the name, which has the salary, which has the department. So salary part I don't want to serialize. So I have different techniques where I need to make it static or transient, different techniques. If it is a 4 field, you can specify the transient or things. If you have hundreds of fields. So in this case, you don't have, in the serialization mechanism, you don't have a choosy. So you can choose ID serialization, name serialization, department serialization. You cannot do independently in the serialization mechanism. In the serialization mechanism, how it will do, you'll take whole object and you'll start serializing this whole object, start converting into bits and bytes, whole object. So when you do this, your salary also will go in this. Salary also will go. If you don't want to do a salary, you have some mechanism called static and all, but that is not a very good idea in the case of huge number of elements you have. If you have 100 elements, in that 60 elements are not should be serialized. Are you going to serialize, say, transient like that? It looks little odd. So when it comes to the MapReduce serialization, where it has a mechanism, you can choose what are the fields you want to serialize. You can choose. You can easily choose those part, and you can do a serialization part. Okay. So that's the reason. So Hadoop is not using Java serialization mechanism, but internally it is kind of only, but it's not actually Java serialization mechanism. We are not extending or implementing serializable interface. For any interface we are not extending, for any class we are not implementing serializable interface. Okay, so these are the two reasons we are not going with that. So let's have a look of let's have a look of this is something called input format. I want to show you writable. Very good. This is already open. I want to show you something called writable. This is an interface, and even you also find some abstract class for that, but it is an interface which has a it is an interface which has a write method and which has a read fields method, which has the write method and read fields method. The write method is meant for the serializing. Write method is meant for the serializing. Write into your data output stream. You are writing into data output stream. It means you are writing your data into your network. So let me put you a very simple way. You are writing into data output stream, which is going as output from your Java program from one application to another application. Read fields, you are reading from the channel input stream to your application. So your writable has a two methods. One is a write method, another one is a read fields method. One is a write method, another one is a read fields method. What it will do, it will it will serialize the data into the stream, it will deserialize the data into the stream. Okay, if it is integer, we will write. Okay, I'll show you the implementation, or else you can see an example here only. In the source code itself they have given example. Look at guys here. I have something called integer type counter. I have something called long type timestamp. Okay, I want to serialize this and deserialize this. Okay, I want to transfer this information. So write method, write int counter. I'm specifically choosing it. Output stream dot write int counter. Data output stream dot write long. Output stream dot, if I have a string, if I have a string here, what I will do? Out dot write UTF. Why I'm taking UTF? Use universal text format. Write UTF, a country name or whatever it is, the name. So you have a you are choosing the variables first point. The second point, you no need to write the whole object, and you have very simple way of writing. So you are serializing by using write method, right? And deserializing, you are reading in the same. The way you read it, read fields is the method. You read from the data input stream. Counter equal to in dot read int, in dot read long. So if you go with the Java serialization, okay, so when you serialize it, when it's getting to deserialize, it should know the type of the object. You should explicitly cast it. You have explicitly cast it, but here no need. You are not casting it. You are not casting it. You are telling that you are reading int. You are telling that you are reading long. So you don't need to cast anything here. If it's the other case, if I go with the Java serialization, if I serialize employee, if I serialize employee object, while deserializing, I have to cast it employee. I have to assign to employee here. I have to do it because I'm taking complete object here. But when it comes to the writable, you are not doing that. You are telling it is I'm reading integer, I'm reading long, I'm reading UTF. You are specifically telling that you don't need to cast it. You don't need to cast it. Okay, explicitly, but you can cast it. It doesn't mean that you cannot. You can cast it. Okay, so you don't need to worry about it. It's internally taken care of that. You don't need to worry about it. It is internally taken care of that. Okay, this is writable. This is writable. As I said, there is something called writable comparable. As I said, there is something called writable comparable. So look at here, the writable comparable interface, what it is doing, it is just extending writable and compare. So how come, sir, writable is a interface, comparable is an interface, how come it is extending? This is also interface. We have clearly discussed one interface can extend another interface without any problem. Without any problem. One interface can extend other interface without any problem. Okay. Clear, guys? Now let me bring my problem statement now. So this is the way we write your own custom. This is the way you write your own custom data types by implementing the writable interface, by implementing writable comparable interface. Okay, this is way we do it. So now, sir, I have two type. No, one is writable, another writable comparable. So which case I need to go for what? So if you are going to write a custom data type for, if you are going to write a custom data type for a key K2, if you are going to write a custom data type for K2, we will go with writable comparable. When I go with writable comparable, I have to override three methods. Two methods from the writable, one method from the writable comparable, because it is extended. No, two methods from here writable. One is that read and write. One method from the comparable. So compare two method. Compare two method. Two methods from the writable. One method from the comparative method from the comparable. So if I'm going for a key, I should write comparable, writable comparable, because the key has to be compared, because in the short and shuffle phase, your key is going to sort based on the your comparative logic. You have to write write method, read fields method. You have something called comparative method. You have to override this. Suppose you are going to write a value, okay, the value v2. So you can go with the writable. It's because the value is not going to compare anywhere. The value is not going to the value is not going to sort anywhere or compare anywhere. So this is how we go with. Now let's come back to my problem statement. My problem statement was, I want the two words combination. I want the two word combination. So let's say, as I taken yesterday, Hadoop is open source. Hadoop is a, Hadoop has a good ecosystem. Now I want my output has to come like this: word 1 comma word 2, and this comes this time. So when I say my output has to come word count only, this is also word count only. Hadoop is came 100 times, and when I say Hadoop has 20 times, HDFS is, it means this is one word, this is one word. Okay, I want two word combination. I want the two word combination. How we will do? The first one, as I said before, when you see the problem statement, first we need to identify few things. What are they? The first thing is K1 V1. So based on the data type, we will go with the input format. So what type of input format will go here? In text input format. We will go here text input format. We'll go with the text input format. If you guys remember, I have shown the text input format logic or source code before in the earlier classes. If you want to see one more time, have a quick look on this. Oh, it is not there. Okay, how to open it? I'll also open text input format. One second, guys. We already seen this. Okay, we already seen this. Your record reader will be creating record reader. It will be telling is splittable. So your text input format is extending file input format. Now you need to understand what is your file input format. If you look at here, clearly it is telling it will accept the long writable and text. It means your K1 V1 is already fixed. You cannot go ahead and change your K1 V1. The K1 V1 is already fixed because your text input format allow K1 as a long writable and V1 as a value. Okay, and go ahead and look at the file input format. Your file input format is generic. It can take any key, any value. But your text input format is not generic. They are already specified, fixed. They already specified the fixed. When you go with the file input format, they can take any type of form. files. Okay, file input form. If you go with the file input format, there are so many methods you need to understand. So if you, I think that's what they here only have shown the how the input splits will be calculated. In minimum split, what is the minimum split size? What is the minimum split size? 1. Okay, what is the maximum split size? What is the maximum split size? Okay, this is maximum value of your long, very bigger value. Well, let me show you. If you can see here, 922 very big value, right? So get input path filters. So many are there. There are in this class. There are so many methods are there. Get input splits. Get the input splits. Where and all the input locations. Get me the locations as well. So there is a method called get locations, and compute the input split size. This is the formula we have seen. Max of min, comma min of maximum size and block size, and get the block indexes. Get the block indexes. The size may go beyond the block, right? Set the input path. Let me show you some more interesting methods. Get input path. I need to calculate the input. I mean, get me the input path. So based on that input, I need to calculate the input splits. So these are the some methods are available in our file input format. If you are giving as anything as a file as an input format, so it will calculate all your get input splits, minimum input split, maximum input splits, and whether it's a splittable or not, whether it's a breakable or not. Okay, suppose your file don't should not break into, your file should not process by multiple mappers, so you have to return here false. So these are all we'll talk in the later classes, not to worry at this point of time. Okay, so this is how it works internally. This is how it works internally, right? So based on that, we need to decide our k1v1 because I'm using a text input format, and I have decided k1v1. After that, I need to, what is my map logic? What is my map logic? My map logic is, first I need to split my value because the value is a bigger line, right? I need to split my value here by using the space. So after splitting it, I need to put into the first position. This is second position. First position, second position. Then I need to add this value to one. I need to add this value to one object. Okay, that's how I will get the key one, word two, word two, word three, word three, word four, like that. First, I need to split it. Take this word, put into array. I mean, when you split it, automatically the array will come. Take this word, put into one object. Take this word, put into one object. So now emit that object. The emit object is like this. Word one. So here it will start emitting such a way that the diagram is object. That's what I yesterday explained you. So take the first word, put into diagram object. Take the second word, put into the diagram object. Then write this diagram object into context.write. Now again, take the word 2, put into diagram object. Take word 4, put into the diagram object. Now again emit the diagram object. So like that, you will take two words combination, you will putting into the an object, that object will be your writing. So now this diagram is custom data type. Now this diagram object is custom data type. So this my K2 is a custom data type now here. My K2 is a custom data type. My K2 is an object, which is a diagram object. My V2 is same number only, so I had nothing changed in V2, but my K2 is changed diagram. Let's have a look of the program. You can easily understand that. Let's have a program of it, so you can easily understand this. Let's look at, guys, here. I need one object as a K2. I need one object as a K2. So now I'm creating my object. My object should contain two words, word 1, comma word 2. My object should contain two words. One is the word 1, comma word 2. So if I'm going to serialize it, I'm going to serialize it. I'm going to serialize it. And here I'm going to deserialize it. While doing serialization, I'm telling that write method. While I'm doing a deserialization, I'm telling that while doing a deserialization, I'm telling that read fields. To serialize write method, to do deserialize read fields method. So that's why I'm writing word 1, word 2. Why I have taken UTF? Because it's a string type. because it is a string type. Otherwise I could have taken int or long, whatever it is, right? Now, so because my object is a key, I gone through writable comparable, writable comparable. I'm writing a custom key now, custom K2, not the custom K1. K1 is by default based on your input format. You can write your custom K1 if you are going to write your own input format. Try to remember this point. It doesn't mean that you cannot change a K1. K1 you can change, but until you write your own custom input format. So, but you can change the K2. K2 is based on your logic, right? So compare to method, I'm comparing my compare to method. You guys know what is the logic of the compare to method. If you are not able to remember, please go back to Java classes. Try to understand the comparable, comparator. Comparable is there, comparator is there. So I recommend you to go back and look at them. Comparing two objects, comparing two objects. After that, you have something called getters and setters. Why? Because this is my private data types. So I need to set the values. So as I shown you diagram, first I need to take one variable, one word from here. I need to put into the I need to take one word. I need to put into the diagram. Put means set. I need to set it. So somewhere I may get it. I may use that word. I can use the get method. I may use that word. I can use the get method. I need to set it here. I need to get it somewhere. So that's why I'm writing setters and getters. I'm writing setters and getters. Setters and getters. If you guys remember something called Java Bean, when we were discussing about encapsulation, we have discussed about it. Setters and getters. So if you guys are not comfort with that, I recommend you to go back and have a look on this. Okay, and you guys know what is a toString method? ToString method, because I'm going to write a whole word into the file. So whole object into the file. So if object we cannot directly write into the file, object cannot be directly write into the console. So it has to be object has to be convert into string. So that's why I'm writing toString method here. That's why I'm writing into toString method and your hash code to make sure that equal number no equal uh, the content of the two objects are equal. Hash code and equals method. Nothing. So you are created now your diagram class. The diagram class is nothing but your K2. Go to your mapper. So next logic is mapper only. Very simple guys. As similar as word count only. Don't get confused. Nothing to confuse here. Yes, as similar as your word count only. You have taken the value toString and you are tokenizing it. So here I'm using the split method, because if I use the split method, I'll get the array of tokens or array of words. That's the reason. So I need a diagram object, no, because I need to put into this, no. I need a diagram object. I need this object. So then only I can set the values into this. Set one, set one, set one, set one, like that. That's why. Okay. I'm taking diagram object and I have broken my value. Value is nothing but complete line. I split it by space. After splitting it, first all the words will be there in the token. Next, I need a first word, second word. I'm taking first word comma second word. I'm looping through all my array. So because I need to get the first word, second word, no. So I'm getting the first word. I'm getting the first word and I'm checking the length of my value. So if your line has only one word, there is no point to bring to second word. If your length should be more than two or more than that, so I can say more than one, then only you have to fetch this word 2. If your line itself is only one word, there is no point to create a second word. So that's the reason. If the word is not there, if the length of the your length of your line is only one, we're not going to do any first word. So if the length of the line is more than one word, so I'm going to take the second word. And also I'm making sure that first word is not empty, second word also not empty, and first word and second word both are not equal. Let's say here first word is Hadoop and second word also Hadoop. So there is no meaning, right? So that's the reason I am checking the condition here clearly. So the first word should not be equal to second word. The first word should not be empty. The second word should not be empty. Like that I'm doing. After that, I need to put into the object here the set word 2, set word 1, set word 2. So I'm putting into my diagram because my diagram is my K2. Now see here what I'm emitting, K2. K2 is my diagram now. K2 is a custom object now. So if you guys remember, in the old programs we have emitted as a text or a long writable or something we have emitted which is a predefined data types. But here I'm using my own data type which is called diagram data type, and one is as similar as your number one, long writable. Reducer never changes. Reducer only change is the K2, only change is the K3. Reducer never change. The values are same. The reducer, the data types are only changes data types. The rest of the logic is same. You're finding the sum and all. Okay. Job also will never change except the key values. Your job also never change. Only changes K2. Map output K2. Final output K2. K3. Only the change. Here, before you might have having a text and text. Here you come up with your own data type. Your own data type. That's the only change, guys. You need to write your own class. You have to write your own class, and you have to implement the writable comparable. You need to override your read fields, write method, and compare to method, and equals and hash code to string for our purpose. We're printing into the file. Then use then you can go ahead and test them. So let me test on this. So let me test. Right click on your driver class, run as, run configurations. You can go diagram. You can take diagram, go to arguments. This is the data and this is my output. So my input from the MR input, output also MR output. I'm taking MR output 1. Apply, run. Go to your MR input. There is something called MR input. In that I have something called word diagram out 1, and you got the output as well, underscore success file also there. If you see here, two word combination, write commons 1995 as 2007 is in. So class path standard and compiler for. First you need to see the input, so you may get the confusion. Let me show you the input. Yeah, this is my input. This is my input. The output came like this. You want to see Java is, and you want to see Java is a general purpose. Let's see, you want to see is a. Let's go ahead and see here is a. So is a how many times came? Small letters. Is a only one time. Okay, and you want to find is general purpose, a general. It will come a comma general. It will come a comma general purpose. Look at here, a comma general purpose. So you are surprising, most of them are 111 only. So here you can see already 2 times it came. So it is not, because the combination is 1 1 only. If you have a repeated data, let's do one thing. Repeat it. Go back to class. Execute the program one more time. So here I didn't handle the delete the existing folder. What I can do, I can give the new file name. While configurations, I can give the new file name. Go to arguments. Run. You can go here. It will create a second bigger, or it will create now. Yeah, created. Go inside. This is the output file. Right click, open with it. You can see here, four times came, because we have this came 8 times. Java is came 8 times. Okay, this is how the diagram works. This is how the diagram works. Okay, any doubts? This is how the custom data types works. So I recommend you guys to go ahead and execute this program, type this program, try to understand the program and send me the results. If you still have any doubts, please let me know. This is how the diagram works. Any doubts? Anyone? Anyone has any doubt? Anil, Asha, Ganesh, Kishore, Masood, Rakesh, Sai, Nikesh, any others?
I'm good, Ravi.
Okay. Thank you guys. Thanks for your time. Have a great day. And please execute this and send me the result as well as send me the what you have understand. Okay. Thank you guys. Bye. Have a great day.